In 2023, travelers spent more than $70 billion in airport duty-free and travel retail stores worldwide. That sounds impressive, until you discover something even stranger. Many of those products weren't actually the cheapest. In fact, depending on the airport and the country, some duty-free items can cost the same as, or even more than, what you'd pay in a city store. So why do millions of intelligent people keep buying them? It isn't because they're careless. It isn't because they're rich. And surprisingly, it isn't just because of tax savings. The real answer is hidden inside one of the smartest business systems ever created. A system that quietly transforms bored travelers into eager shoppers, turns airports into luxury shopping malls, and earns billions of dollars every year without owning a single perfume brand. But to understand how this happened, we need to follow someone you've probably met before, even if you don't know her name. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is a 32-year-old marketing manager flying from London to Singapore for a business conference. She arrives at the airport 3 hours early, checks in her luggage, clears security, and finally reaches the departure area. She promised herself one thing before leaving home: "I'm not buying anything at the airport." 40 minutes later, she's carrying a shopping bag containing a luxury perfume, premium chocolates, and a skincare gift set worth nearly $220. What changed? Did she suddenly become irresponsible? Or was someone quietly influencing every decision she made without her even realizing it? We'll come back to Sarah in a moment. Because to understand what happened, we first need to answer another question. Why do duty-free shops exist at all? Most people believe airports invented duty-free shopping simply to help travelers save money. That's only part of the story. The real story begins more than 75 years ago. In the years after World War II, international air travel was still a luxury. Flying overseas was expensive, and only a small number of people could afford it. At the same time, governments collected customs duties and import taxes on many foreign goods. These taxes often made imported perfumes, alcohol, cigarettes, and luxury products much more expensive. Then in 1947, a small airport in Ireland changed retail history forever. Shannon Airport introduced the world's first modern duty-free shop. The idea was surprisingly simple. Passengers leaving one country and traveling directly to another could buy certain products before entering their destination. Because those goods weren't being sold for local consumption, some local taxes and duties didn't apply. It looked like a small experiment. Instead, it became the foundation of a global industry. Soon, airports across Europe began copying the model. Then Asia joined. The Middle East followed. Over the following decades, international travel exploded, and every new airport discovered something unexpected. People weren't just using airports to catch flights. They were willing to shop there too. At first, airports considered retail a useful extra source of income. Then something remarkable happened. For many major airports, shopping became almost as important as aviation itself. Today, airports like Dubai International, Singapore Changi, Seoul Incheon, Heathrow, and Istanbul welcome tens of millions of passengers every year. Every one of those passengers represents something airlines can't always guarantee: a potential customer. And unlike a traditional shopping mall, airports don't have to convince people to visit. The customers are already there. Think about your favorite shopping mall. Before anyone buys a product, the mall has to attract visitors with advertising, entertainment, restaurants, discounts, and events. Airports skip that entire process. Every traveler has already paid hundreds or sometimes thousands of dollars just to be there. Ironically, after spending so much money on a flight, buying a $90 bottle of perfume suddenly doesn't feel quite as expensive. Funny how our brains work, isn't it? But here's where the business becomes truly fascinating. Most people believe airports make their money from airplanes, landing fees, parking charges, terminal services. And yes, those are important. But for many international airports, some of the highest profit margins come from something completely different: retail. That raises an obvious question. If airports don't manufacture perfume, don't produce whiskey, and don't design luxury handbags, then who is actually making all this money? The answer is far more complicated than most people realize, because behind every duty-free store, there isn't just one business. There are three: the airport, the retailer, and the luxury brand. Understanding how those three work together explains why companies are willing to pay enormous amounts just for the chance to rent a small store inside an airport. And once you see how the money flows between them, you'll understand why airports around the world are competing to build bigger, more luxurious shopping areas every single year. But before we follow the money, let's go back to Sarah. She still hasn't boarded her flight, and without realizing it, she's about to become part of one of the most profitable business machines on Earth. Sarah walks into the duty-free store with only one goal: just have a look. 5 minutes, that's all. She sprays a perfume on her wrist, tastes a small piece of chocolate, notices a travel-exclusive skincare set, and smiles at a sign that reads, "Save up to 20%. She hasn't bought anything yet. But the business has already started working. Not because Sarah is weak, because the system was designed long before she arrived. To understand why, we need to follow the money. Most people imagine a duty-free shop works like any other retail store. A company rents a building, stocks products, sells them, and keeps the profits. Airport retail is much more complicated. Think of an airport as the owner of a luxury shopping mall. The airport doesn't need to sell perfume itself. Instead, it rents valuable retail space to companies that specialize in travel shopping. These companies are called travel retailers. Some of the biggest names include Avolta, formerly Dufry, Lagardère Travel Retail, Lot Duty Free, and DFS Group. Together, they operate thousands of airport stores around the world. But renting a shop inside an airport isn't cheap. A retailer may pay a fixed annual rent, a percentage of its sales, or both. These agreements are called concession contracts. Imagine opening a small perfume shop on a normal city street. You would spend huge amounts on advertising just to attract customers. Now imagine opening the same store inside Dubai International Airport, where tens of millions of international passengers pass through every year. You don't need to convince customers to visit. They're already walking past your front door. That is why airport retail space is among the most valuable commercial real estate in the world. For airports, this creates an incredible business. Every time a traveler buys a product, the retailer earns money, the luxury brand earns money, and in many cases, the airport earns money too through rent, sales commissions, or both. One customer, 3 businesses, 1 purchase, 3 winners. That sounds like a perfect system. But there's another question. Why are luxury brands so desperate to be inside airports instead of opening more stores downtown? The answer isn't just sales, it's visibility. Take Chanel, Dior, Estee Lauder, Rolex, Gucci, or MAC. A customer from India, Japan, Brazil, Germany, and Australia could all walk past the same display within a single afternoon. Very few places in the world offer that kind of international exposure. An airport isn't just a shop, it's a global showroom, and sometimes it's where customers discover a luxury brand for the very first time. This is exactly why companies spend millions designing stunning airport stores. Bright lighting, large digital screens, free product demonstrations, exclusive gift packaging. Everything is carefully planned to make travelers stop, even if only for a few seconds. Those few seconds matter, because retail experts know something fascinating. The longer a customer stays inside a store, the more likely they are to make a purchase. That is why many duty-free stores are designed like gentle mazes. Instead of placing products in straight lines, they encourage customers to slowly explore different sections. Notice the perfumes, then chocolates, then cosmetics, then premium liquor. Each section increases the chance that something catches your attention. By the time Sarah reaches the exit, she has already interacted with half a dozen products, and she still hasn't realized what happened. Now let's meet another player in this story, Dubai Duty Free. When Dubai International Airport opened its duty-free operation in 1983, few people imagined what it would become. Over the decades, Dubai transformed itself into one of the world's busiest international travel hubs. As passenger numbers grew, so did duty-free sales. Today, Dubai Duty Free regularly reports annual sales measured in billions of dollars, making it one of the largest airport retailers on the planet. Its success wasn't built on low prices alone. It focused on variety, premium experiences, efficient service, and understanding international travelers better than almost anyone else. Other airports quickly noticed. Singapore Changi invested heavily in creating beautiful shopping experiences. Seoul's latte duty-free expanded aggressively across Asia. Airports were no longer competing only for airlines. They were competing for shoppers. That changed airport design forever. Modern terminals increasingly combine transportation with luxury retail, restaurants, entertainment, and relaxation spaces. In many major airports, shopping became part of the travel experience itself. But behind the glamorous storefronts lies a business most passengers never see. Running a duty-free store is incredibly expensive. Every product must pass customs regulations. Luxury goods require secure transportation. Inventory has to match changing flight schedules. Some products have expiration dates. High-value watches and jewelry require advanced security systems. Employees often need multilingual training because customers arrive from every corner of the world. Then there is staffing. A delayed flight at midnight can suddenly bring hundreds of unexpected customers into a store. Retailers must always be ready. These hidden costs quietly consume millions of dollars every year. And then there is another problem, perhaps the biggest one of all. Duty-free stores have almost no control over their customers. If flights are canceled, passenger numbers fall instantly. If tourism declines, sales drop. If a global crisis keeps people at home, even the most beautiful airport store becomes an empty showroom. That weakness remained hidden for decades, until one event exposed it to the entire world. And in just a few months, it wiped out billions of dollars in airport retail sales, forcing one of the world's smartest business models to fight for survival. In early 2020, something happened that airport executives had never truly prepared for. The airplanes stopped coming. Within weeks, international travel collapsed. Airports that normally welcomed more than 200,000 passengers a day became almost silent. The brightly lit duty-free stores were still there. The luxury brands were still on the shelves, but the customers had disappeared. For the first time in decades, the industry's biggest weakness was impossible to ignore. Duty-free shops don't create travelers, they depend on them. When flights stop, sales stop. Some of the world's largest travel retailers reported dramatic declines in revenue. Airports that had relied heavily on shopping income suddenly faced enormous financial pressure. A business model that had looked almost unbeatable was now fighting for survival. But here's what separated the winners from the losers. The strongest companies didn't wait for normal to return. They adapted. Retailers expanded online pre-order services, allowing passengers to reserve products before even arriving at the airport. Loyalty programs became more personalized. Digital screens displayed different promotions depending on flight destinations and passenger profiles. Instead of simply selling products, duty-free companies began creating a smoother shopping experience. As international travel recovered, something interesting happened. Many travelers who had postponed vacations for years were finally flying again. Airports became busier, and duty-free sales started climbing once more. But the industry had learned an important lesson. Depending only on tax-free prices was no longer enough. Today's traveler carries something far more powerful than a passport: a smartphone. Before buying a $150 perfume, many passengers now compare prices online in seconds. They read reviews, check local retailers, and search for discounts. That forced duty-free businesses to rethink their strategy. If they couldn't always be the cheapest, they had to become the most convenient. Exclusive airport editions, limited-time travel packs, premium gift wrapping, fast checkout, click and collect services, personal shopping assistance. The goal changed from sell at a lower price to create a better experience. Now, let's go back to Sarah. Remember, she promised herself she wouldn't buy anything, yet she's standing at the checkout with a shopping basket. Was it because the perfume was dramatically cheaper? Not necessarily. Depending on the airport, she might have saved a little, a lot, or almost nothing. So why did she buy it? Because dozens of small decisions quietly pushed her toward that moment. She arrived early. She had time to explore. She tested the fragrance. She saw a travel-exclusive gift set. She imagined giving it to her sister back home. She noticed the words limited edition. She thought, if I don't buy it now, I probably won't see this again. None of those moments alone convinced her. Together they did. That's the real genius of the duty-free business. It doesn't rely on one big sales trick. It combines hundreds of tiny psychological advantages into one seamless experience. But perhaps the most remarkable part of this business isn't the psychology, it's the competition. Every major airport wants more international passengers. Every luxury brand wants better store locations. Every travel retailer wants longer contracts. And every airport wants travelers to stay just a little longer before boarding. Because every extra minute can become another purchase. That's why airports like Singapore Changi have transformed themselves into destinations instead of simple transportation hubs. Indoor gardens, waterfalls, world-class restaurants, art installations, and entertainment areas aren't just there to impress visitors. They're designed to encourage passengers to arrive earlier, stay longer, and naturally spend more. The airport wins. The retailer wins. The luxury brand wins. As long as passengers keep flying, the entire ecosystem keeps growing. But no business lasts forever without adapting. Artificial intelligence is already helping retailers predict what customers are most likely to buy. Digital shelves can change promotions throughout the day. Mobile apps allow travelers to reserve products before reaching the airport. Some stores are even experimenting with cashier-free technology. The future of duty-free shopping may look very different, yet one thing probably won't change: human behavior. People will continue searching for convenience. They'll continue buying gifts before going home. They'll continue rewarding themselves before a long vacation. Technology may evolve. Products may change. But the emotions behind those purchases remain surprisingly consistent. And that's why airport duty-free shops became far more than places to buy perfume or chocolate. They became one of the most profitable retail businesses ever built. Not because they always offered the lowest prices, not because travelers had unlimited money, but because they understood something every successful business eventually learns. People rarely buy products for logical reasons alone. They buy because of timing, because of emotion, because of convenience, because of the story they tell themselves in that exact moment. The next time you walk through an airport, take a slow look around before heading to your gate. Notice the store layouts, the luxury displays, the tasting counters, the travel-exclusive signs, the smiling staff offering free samples. What looks like a simple shopping area is actually the result of decades of business strategy, behavioral science, and global competition. You may think you're just waiting for your flight, but from the moment you pass through security, one of the world's smartest retail machines has already gone to work. And whether you buy something or not, you'll never walk through a duty-free shop the same way again. If a simple airport store can become a billion-dollar business, imagine how many other everyday businesses have hidden secrets. We'll discover another one in the next documentary.